Welcome to Your Cyber Path, the podcast that helps you get your dream cybersecurity job by sharing the secrets of experienced hiring managers and top cybersecurity professionals with you. Now, on to the show.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Your Cyber Path. I'm Kip Boyle, and today I'm here without Jason Dion. He's taking a well-deserved vacation. You know, Jason likes to go on cruises, and so I think right now he's either getting on board a ship or getting ready to get on board a ship. But that guy goes on more cruises than anybody I've ever met. He really, really loves them. And I haven't even been on one yet. So he's trying to convince me to go on a cruise. Well, anyway, this episode, we're going to focus on a couple of really cool things I think you're really going to like. We're going to talk about mobile security, and we have a guest that we're going to do that with. But we're also going to learn about our guest's own cyber path, how he got into cybersecurity. And so I think these two topics are going to be really helpful. And our guest, his name is Haseeb Awan, and Haseeb is the founder and CEO of a company called Efani Secure Mobile. And as you can guess, that's why he's going to talk about some of the mobile security topics that we think would be helpful for you as a person who either wants to get into cybersecurity, or maybe you're already in cybersecurity and you'd like to brush up on the latest risks with mobile devices. So Haseeb, thank you for being our guest. Welcome.
Thank you, Kip, for having me on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we should start with learning a little bit more about who you are and the work that you do, and then I would love to hear your story about how you got into cybersecurity. So what does it mean to be a founder and CEO of Efani Secure Mobile?
So first of all, being a CEO of any security company is super stressful. And I'll tell you the reason, because every day you wake up, you hear about this company got breached, right?
Yep.
And it's like you're saying, okay, when am my number? When I'm next, right?
Right.
And you know that everyone is trying right now. So you may be sleeping and someone is trying to kill you, right? Like, think about it, right?
Right.
And you built a fortress. And I say, think about it, you have built a very excellent fortress around you, and you are sleeping inside.
Yeah.
You know, but you're sleeping and you don't know what kind of attack are you getting.
Right.
And with the AI and everything, and who's going to attack you,
right?
Like in physical war, you can say, okay, I live in San Juan, Puerto Rico, just to give you an example. So I can see that there could be, what can you do for security? So you can say, okay, no one is come in F-16 or coming like JFs, those planes that they bomb me. But like what's going to happen, there'll be like some guy who want to get in and so you can protect against that, right? But otherwise in cybersecurity, it could be anywhere from anywhere in the world.
Right. And I love your fortress example, like a castle or something like that. And what I tell people is, that analogy is good, but we live in a day and age where people have drones. And so castles really aren't that useful anymore, digital ones,
Yeah.
So we've got to recognize that perimeter networks aren't as useful as we thought they were. But Haseeb, I think all CEOs, no matter what their industry, should have the same concern that you just described, because everybody who's doing business on the internet is a target, whether they realize it or not. And everybody's digital assets are at risk to the attackers. And so let's talk a little bit about, because we'll get to that as far as mobile goes, because there's so many mobile risks. But before we do, I would love to know about your journey to become somebody who's working in cybersecurity. Would you tell us?
I got into that by force, right? So I'll give you an example of my force. It's around 2019 and at 18, 19, and I decided I want to buy a bank. I know it looks pretty stupid, but I said, let me buy a bank.
A bank. I don't wake up with that thought. This is fascinating. Keep going.
Okay, so I said, okay, let me buy a bank. And the reason I want to buy a bank is because I work in crypto industry since 2013. We built one of the largest Bitcoin ATM network in the world. And for people, it's like physical machines all across the world. You go to a machine, you buy Bitcoin. And I said, there's no crypto bank. We have a lot of crypto users, but there's no bank linked to crypto. I like niche businesses. So, we have exchanges, but banks are banks.
Yeah.
So is there a need for that? And can we turn it into a regular ATM into a bank system? So that's a long story. But long story short, One day I wake up and no, I'm not. Sorry, I'm working on my computer and I got an email that sorry to let you go.
Huh.
Wait a minute. What do you mean let you go? And so I knew about SIM swaps and everything, but what the hell happened? So for a few seconds, I was in disbelief that it happened to me because the challenge, the cybersecurity, any incident is that you will say, "Oh man, uh, it it happened to someone. It doesn't happen to me." People get hacked every day.
Yep.
During our podcast, like thousands of people will be hacked, right? And we don't know, and we will always think it's not going to be me. It will be someone
Right.
else because
Yeah.
I'm not important enough. I'm not like I keep my low profile. So I said, man. So anyways, I got hacked. I tried to call, and how do you call? My phone is hacked. I can't make a phone call.
Right.
So I said, okay, what do I do? I literally pick up my car and I went to a store.
Okay.
And they said, sir, we have no idea because you don't exist in our record anymore. You're not a customer.
Oh my
I
goodness.
said, so I'll give you, I'll pick up a random name, which is not the case. So think about you're a Verizon customer, your phone gets hacked,
Mhm.
and you walk into a store and say, Kip, you're not in our system anymore.
Right. You mean
Okay.
like the store of my mobile provider?
Provider, yeah. So I'm just picking up a Verizon name or
Right.
T-Mobile name. Just
Yep.
they're not the customer, but I'm just keep picking up names just
Sure.
for people to understand. So I walk in T-Mobile store, say, Kip, you're a customer, but you're not a customer anymore.
Mm.
So okay, so which company I'm customer? I don't know. Right? So what do you
And-
mean? Like I basically go into store by store and find out who stole
You're
my
holding
number.
your phone that used to work
I'm-
and doesn't anymore.
I doesn't anymore. And they say, yeah, but someone just moved us. You used to be a customer yesterday. Now you're not a customer.
Mm.
So and who the new customer? I don't know. And
Jeez.
I said, okay, man, what kind of stupid problem this is? Like,
Yep.
I didn't do anything. And so I called the fraud department. And again, who do you call? You call from cell phone, which I don't have it.
Right.
And the customer, and they will not help me out because, they are
Not a customer anymore.
they're not a customer anymore. And I said, man, like, what kind of stupidity is this? So I called from a different line and I called and they said, sir, I can't see you because you're not a customer anymore.
Oh, jeez.
And I said, okay, man, I'm not your customer, but how did I not become your customer? I didn't do that.
Right.
And they said, we don't know because you're not a customer, so we don't have any information.
Oh gosh.
And-
And you want your phone number back?
I want my phone number back. So long story short is that I spoke to fraud department and I
Mhm.
told them specifically what happened. And they said, oh, okay, now we know what happened, but you're not a customer anymore. So how can I help a customer? How can I help someone who's not a customer anymore? I said, but this is exactly the fraud that I was your customer. I'm not a customer anymore. So that's like, a funny part that we got. So we spent some time and it took me almost a day or two to get my number back.
Wow.
And during that time, the guy is looking into my bank account. He's calling my bank. He's calling my friend. So Kip will call him. He'll disconnect the call and say, man, Kip, I'm in trouble right now.
Mm.
I can't talk, but can you send me some money? Right?
Mhm.
And they will have a call. And so what will happen? You will call and, I'm just texting, hey, I can't talk right now. I'm in a hospital or something.
Right.
Man, what is happening? And so he tried to go into online. And he tried to get into my bank accounts and try to get into my emails because everything is very easy, simple. Once you have a telephone number, you can get into because everyone have a Facebook account, have social media. So they'll go on each and every account, Gmail, Hotmail, do a password reset. And frankly, so I got my number after 2 days, man. That was such a stressful time.
Wow.
And so they said, okay, we'll give you a new account number. And now you can't get hacked. And so I was placed under a very high risk. That's what
Got it.
happened. After a couple of months, I got hacked again.
Oh, geez.
And the same thing, you're not a customer anymore,
Ugh.
right? So I changed my provider, happened to me for third time.
Oh my God.
And then for the fourth time. And I was kind of like, my life was, okay, man, I'm only sitting here I couldn't function anymore. Like, kept like, it's like, I thought that I'm a very good in cybersecurity. I thought
Yep.
like, I'm those guys who can show off, do whatever you want to do. I'm
Mhm.
protected. But if my fortress is getting breached every day,
Right.
to mention you by a drone or something, I cannot do anything in my life because I'm always afraid about, someone's going to hack my bank account. If someone,
Yeah.
and the example I used to give people, I said, imagine you come to your bed and you're at work and you come back and you want to sleep and there's a note on your bed. I was here.
That's awful.
Right.
It's such anxiety.
And isn't it like you can't sleep anymore, right? What the
Yeah.
hell is this? he would not do anything, but you know that someone have access to the most private thing in your life, which is your cell phone.
Yeah, it's traumatizing, and you feel violated, and then you start looking over your shoulder all the time. I totally get what you're saying. So, now, do you think that you were being targeted for hacking? Do you think it was just random? Because you said you were working in Bitcoin, so I just wonder if that, kind of raised your profile as somebody to
It
attack.
did. Certainly it did. So I was under high profile, but I also realized that once you get hacked, the chance of it become higher and higher.
Yeah,
So
it does.
now with the AI stuff, man, it's like getting even more crazier because
Hmm.
people can ask bots to build me a hacker, right?
Right.
Find me a list of 100 vulnerable people in the world.
Yeah.
Give an
Yeah.
example, right? And may people to create something.
Yeah. It's computer
And then
assisted now.
yeah, so you can actually use those bots to take up because a lot of people don't know that you can train AI model. You can just take it,
Yeah.
train it, and they can work for you.
Well, I've been
And
playing around with Chat GPT, right? And so this is the first time that we've really had something available to the general public that's AI ML and that you can, start to actually, experiment with in the way that you're talking about. But I want to go back to a comment you said something. You said, okay, Kip, I got into cybersecurity because I got hacked. One day I woke up and I wanted to buy a bank. That was a great way for you to start your story. So then you got hacked and you got hacked multiple times. So at what point did you say, I'm sick of this. I'm gonna, start working in cybersecurity. What was that moment like?
no, I didn't think of cybersecurity. I just said, man, how stupid this is that
Yeah.
this cell phone, which is my life, anyone can come in and breach and go. Like how
Yep.
stupid. Like I can set up my VPN, I can set up my password manager, I can set up firewalls, I can do whatever. But if someone can, um, so I had I was actually very, very surprised on what can we do around cell phone security, right? Like how stupid is it? So I asked my friends who are very high pro. I said, "What do you do for cell phone?" They say
Mhm.
we have someone who goes to AT&T store on our behalf,
Mhm.
and they buy the number for us. So I wondered that how can we make it much cleaner, right? Like
So,
how
so
can
that's a bribe. Is that what you're saying? Is that somebody actually?
it's a bribe and a social engineering.
Mm,
So I went on so I was in crypto, so I went on there is a lot of eBay for illegal stuff where you can buy trucks, you can
right.
buy stuff, and there are people who work in the store and they say, "I'll hack any number for you,
Wow.
and for $200, $300, give me
Mm,
money." And what they do is they will get hired in a store, and you'll be surprised that getting hired in the store is similar to getting hired in McDonald's. You walk in, you fill up an application, boom, you're backstage. Now
right.
anyone who's there can now look into anyone's account and make
Yep.
changes to the account. And I said that, shoot, man, like is this our entire security come down to this person? And then every customer company is now outsourced.
Right.
So they have call centers outside who have access to everything. And the interesting part is the people who work in the call centers, they're not even employees of the main company.
Mm-hmm.
So now carriers have basically have call centers. They will give it to access to a contract to a company, and then they'll give it to. So I start talking to people, and I said I need to fix this. So I started a company for myself. Okay, I said I can't do anything because unless I fix this problem, because
Uh-huh.
it's like my mental health is gone, right? Like
Yeah.
I can't think anymore because every time I'm looking, I'll wake up 2 o'clock in the morning and I'll look at my phone if it's hacked or not. I will,
Jeez.
I cannot go to bank anymore, you
Right.
know?
So you're like a lot
So
of entrepreneurs. You felt some pain and then you decided that you wanted to do something about it. Now, a lot of people are feeling that pain as well. And so those people can become customers for you. Am I following your
correct.
story?
Yeah, yeah. So I asked my friend, I said, hey man, I have found a service that will basically protect your phone, and this is what they will charge. How many people will buy? So I think I put up like a Google Docs page, Google forum like on the weekend.
Mm,
We got like 3, 4 things, and
okay.
people are nice. They like it. They like the idea, but they don't. But unless you get paid for something.
Mhm.
Like if I come to Kips, I'm working on making this chocolate. It's the best chocolate in the world, right?
Uh-huh.
Kips will say, man, this is the best chocolate in the world, right? But unless I say, Kips, from now onward, I want you to pay for it. That's where you understand, okay,
Right.
is my product have merits or not, right?
Yes.
So I went and I started people paying for it. So I think within a week we had like 12 paying customers.
Nice.
And I said, man, I would not disclose the name of the company yet.
Okay.
But if you don't like it, you can take your money back. But I want to have like 100 people before I can decide they would like to take the customer. So we got to like maybe 2 dozen customers. I said, okay, man, that's good enough that we're getting customers. So I set up a telecom company. I said, how do you set up a telecom company? I literally go into Google. And so my search came from how to buy a bank to how to buy a carrier.
That's great.
And so within a figure out, so I spoke to some people, and when there's a will, there's a way, there's a will. So if there's a will, there's a way. So I figured out how to start a telecom company in the US. And what I said is, we'll do only one thing. No one can get access to your account. And obviously, a Kip will say, okay, that's fine. But why should I trust you over Verizon? Or even if Verizon goes down, I can say Verizon screwed it up. But if you went down, I just trusted like a random person who just decided to start a company. So I said, okay,
Right.
Okay, I will buy you insurance policy. And if you get hacked, you get $5 million in damage. And here's the policy. Here's my number. You can verify. So if something goes wrong, I'll pay you $5 million.
Got it. Okay.
And I paid the premium up front.
Okay. So you're up in the game, right? You're telling people, this is not going to happen if you become my customer. And these are the things that I'm going to do. And if somehow it does happen, don't worry, you're still covered. Because Haseeb, you and I both know nothing's hack proof, right? Nothing is absolutely 100% secure all the time. So I think it's really wise of you to, do something with insurance to, to manage the risk that somehow somebody might find a way to mess with your customers. This is a fascinating story that you're telling right now. Could we now talk about risks to mobile security? So you've already put the first one on the table, which is that account representatives at major telecom providers can be compromised by bribery and social engineering. What about other risks like SIM swapping is a big one, right?
SIM swapping is obviously the easiest one, right? Like, we have image capture, you have like, a lot of stuff. But SIM swapping is something where literally someone in store can screw your entire life. Obviously other things like required, like, a lot of information about how to hack system, like, malicious links is simple. Where people send you a link and you click on the link, or there could be scams where they call you and they're my IRS agent or those things. But SIM swapping is such a simple thing and the most effective way to hack someone.
Okay.
Because I can say, oh, I'll never send someone money on the call. I can do everything. But SIM swapping is something that I don't control.
Right.
It's a different carrier.
Yeah. And SIM swapping, as I understand it, this isn't where a mobile carrier account rep is being bribed, but they're being tricked, right? That's the social engineering. Like if I want Haseeb's, account, then I would call Verizon and I would say, oh, hi, I'm a Haseeb and I have a new handset. Would you please, port my number to my new handset? And then, I trick them. Maybe I have some confidential information of yours that I can use to impersonate you. And then if I'm successful, your service turns off. And then I get your service on my handset with my SIM. And now I can actually start hacking your life. Is that kind of how it works?
Exactly. That's how it works. So SIM swapping is like right now, you can go online, you can buy data on anyone. There are companies who are billion-dollar companies just because they sell people data.
Wow. Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So that's what happens. So you can get someone's social security number, you can find someone's driving license number, and everything that's required to do so. So other person on the call, he doesn't know you personally,
Right.
right?
Never heard my voice before.
Yeah, he's just looking at your name, and as soon as it check marks, he say, "Okay, man, I'm doing it." And he's like a robot. He just identifies what needs to happen, and the carriers actually. So there's laws around it where carriers have to act on a number swap very fast. It's within hours. If you don't swap within hours,
because that's supposed to be a consumer-friendly law, right?
Correct. Yeah. So it was basically the carriers, but it's now so carriers know that if they stop someone, they can get sued. So.
So how do I protect myself against SIM swapping? What do I do?
He just says the most effective way is obviously us, which I'm obviously biased, right?
Of
That's the
course.
most easiest way, right?
Yeah.
You go to our service, Efani service, and you do it. Otherwise, you can just call your carrier and say, like, don't port my number. Now they don't work, but still, it's something that is like, it's like a scale of 0 to 1. If you're at 0, it will take you to 1 or 2 at least.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just tell them,
Okay.
put a lock on my number.
Put a lock on the number.
But that's a real risk, like, because that's the weakest link, right?
Right.
And yeah,
Okay. Now, what about there's some other mobile risks that we need to be aware of, right? Like IMSI catchers. I've heard of that before, but I don't think I could tell you how it works in the way that I kind of knew how SIM swapping works. Would you mind just telling us, like, what is an IMSI catcher and why do
sure.
we need to be concerned about that?
Yeah, it's an IMSI catcher, international mobile, like, subscriber identity. That's it
Mhm.
stands for IMSI, which is every SIM card have a identity, right?
Okay.
So the way it works is, like, we have public number, which is our SIM card, which is our number, but
Yeah.
actually it's linked. It's translated to a machine into a different identity that is only written by carrier. So I'll give you a very simple example. Like, if you don't get a coverage in your house, you set up a booster sometime,
Yeah.
a cell phone booster, right?
Right.
So that booster could be legitimate, but that would be a rogue one as well. By being so I can give you a rogue booster, which basically sends one to signal and one to the rogue thing, right?
Okay.
Oh, so that would happen. So what happened normally in these catcher is that people build those and they will give it to people or they will install in locations where
Mhm.
all the kids. So the cell phone will think this is actually the closest tower. So normally
Right.
what happen is that if you have like multiple tower, it will connect to the strongest one, which is the closest one.
Okay.
Generally the closest one. So it connect to that, and you're talking to someone, but not talking to. So you can be making a call to 911, and the tower can actually redirect to a different person.
Mhm.
So if you're talking about extreme example, what can happen? You call 911,
Yeah.
and the call get diverted to a random center,
Yeah.
and the person that help is on the way, but not a help. It's basically the guy who's
Right.
trying to kill you.
Okay. So, and now you said IMSI is kind of how you pronounce IMSI, right? IMSI?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
IMSI,
Okay.
yeah.
So an IMSI catcher is like a man in the middle attack. It's a
That's
fake.
man in the middle. Yeah, it's a fake
Yeah.
tower.
It's a fake tower. Okay. Now I'm aware that police sometimes use this, right?
That's
Or
right, yeah.
intelligence agencies sometimes use this. Okay, thank you. All right. Now that actually makes a lot of sense. Now, what can I do to detect whether my mobile device is talking to an IMSI catcher? Is that something I can even know?
Not for consumer, like it's critical.
Yeah.
Like, we have built protections against it, but frankly, like, they are, like, we don't even give it to our customers.
Mm,
So, because it's so complicated, like, it's not convenient for people because sometimes it have false positive. And secondly, no one needs this and it costs a lot of money to us. So we don't even give it to customers, but we do give it to like high profile clients and some agencies because there's laws around it. Because sometimes interception is done lawfully, right? So you
yes.
don't want criminal to know that they're being intercepted. So
Exactly.
so without talking into that, yes, you can protect against that, but it's like slightly complicated.
Yeah,
And,
probably not a great subject for the podcast here.
right, yeah.
But maybe I could put something in the show notes to send people to a web page where they could read about it.
Yeah, but again, we don't sell it to consumers. So even they come to our website, we cannot give it to them.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's move on then. What about location tracking, just in general?
So location tracking is like, you may be sitting somewhere and you get like a signal like, okay, Amber Alert. There's a
Mhm.
flooding happening or this person happening. So
Yeah.
those things happen by location. So any subscriber in the world, you can actually find their location just by having their telephone number. It's like a ping thing. So
Really?
think about a ping. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can ping someone, and normally carriers do that.
Mm.
So, but what happened is like, it's like, I'll give you a simple, it's like confirming someone bank information.
Okay.
Like banks have a way to figure out if this bank account is valid or invalid.
Mm.
So
So
what
they ping
happens
the
is
account.
they ping the account. So if I have like a Russian, a carrier,
Yeah.
I can put someone and I can find their location to confirm, and I can exactly find where they are right now.
Okay.
So that is used mostly for, you may have heard about that someone just got killed in a bomb blast or someone just got killed by, and the person was, very personal person. Like, he was traveling in XYZ place, right? But that's what happened. Where a carrier will basically find out where the person is and just ping the response and the person up.
And I've heard that you can also do location tracking by mobile tower triangulation, right? There's other ways to do it.
That's the way to do it. So mobile triangulation is how you do it. But like you need a telephone number and you just ping the phone and it gives you a location.
Okay. Now I'm a little bit aware of this because I have helped political activists who are working in repressive countries, and they're trying to organize citizens to protest against the policies of oppressive governments. And so I've actually been involved in trainings where we talk about this, location tracking and that sort of thing, and how very careful they have to be, and I even tell them, like, if you cannot carry a mobile phone, if you're going to go to a protest, that's really your best bet. But that's difficult, right? Because people need to get text messages and they need to communicate.
Yeah, certainly. There are a lot of things too, right? Like we guide a lot too. A lot of time, our work is very, very difficult because you don't want to overshare, because anything that a person can use in a positive way can also be used in a negative way.
Yes.
Too. So it's like a sword, right? You don't want to teach gun to everyone.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So a lot of time that's why, the service I told you, like we don't publicly tell how it works. So we just say, come to us, we'll see if you qualify and we can help you out. And frankly, things are getting better now. There are a lot of tools out there that you can use to protect it. But yeah.
Could we talk about something that's been very high profile in the news lately, which is like the kind of cell phone surveillance that's enabled by the NSO group, or, organizations like that?
Sure.
It seems very insidious, but what's your take?
So certainly, I'll come back to like 0-day exploits, right?
Yeah.
0-day exploit is basically something that has to be fixed. So 0 days effectively means 0 day today.
Right.
No one knows that.
Correct.
And so NSO group is like their marketplace online, and that's another way how people make their career in cybersecurity. They'll find a bug and they will sell it online on forums and say, I know how to get into someone's Microsoft account, right? And then people will bid on them and they'll sell it. So NSO group is the one that buys a lot of exploits. NSO is one of the thousands of groups.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And they buy exploits and they say, okay, and then they sell it to different nations.
Yep.
And they have contracts. Okay, I want to monitor someone's social media, just to give an example.
Yeah.
And they will say how to get into Facebook. So they will now, once they find the bug, they will go to like different countries and find out. So with the NSO bug, the details of a lot of this is not public because, like, we can guesstimate about how things work out, but technically it's just location tracking. And where people can find location, and that's how they were able to assassinate it. But even as of today, a lot of people in the world are being surveilled because it's legal in most of the countries.
Yeah. Well, I know that 0-day exploits and like remote 0-click exploits and that sort of thing is kind of how the technology works. I mean, it used to be that they would have to send you a text message and you'd have to click on the link. And now they've evolved their technology to where they just have to send something and you don't have to take any action. And then your phone becomes silently compromised and they can conduct remote surveillance. And there's been a lot of high profile investigative journalism on this. And I'm just curious to know, is this something that you, in the service that you provide through Efani, is this something that you have to deal with?
Yes, certainly. Absolutely. It does. We do work against, like, these are services that we don't advertise.
Yeah.
So we have to like look at a person that we like. It's like a gun. Like, who do you sell the gun to?
Yeah, right.
And then the challenge is because we have to go with the specific laws too. But yeah, it does become the challenge. It's a real concern because a lot of those bugs are left intentionally. So government can also tap into those people too.
Yeah.
But again, there are people who work in government, they pass on the secrets, and then people in the wild west.
Or those secrets just get lost or stolen. Like NotPetya and WannaCry were both enabled by a cyber weapon called Eternal Blue that the U.S. government had stockpiled, and then it had been stolen or somehow had gotten loose. And then it was used to actually launch those attacks. And there's a really great book, by the way, about zero-day exploits that I listened to recently. I'd like to listen to
Sure.
audiobooks. Um, and they talked in that book a lot about how the market for zero-day exploits actually developed, and how the NSO group and other organizations have weaponized, and how governments have weaponized this in order to enable digital surveillance. But tell me if I'm wrong. It seems to me like ordinary citizens don't really have to worry about the NSO group or somebody like them hacking their phone. Is that right?
No. They you can get like a lot of people, hacked by not getting those are expensive attacks because you can only conduct them more specific over time. Like it's not like you can go after everyone. Like if someone find my location, okay, what can they do?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But if someone get into my bank account, that's more interesting to them. So sometimes it's like money part, sometimes it's other stuff.
Mhm.
So ordinary people do not have that interest. For ordinary people, they can just why spend so much money? Why you can just pay $100 and get into someone's account and steal all the money?
Right. Yeah, because it's expensive. This stuff's really expensive.
Yeah.
And so an ordinary citizen is probably not going to become a target for this kind of technology. But it really is fascinating, I think, to to know that it happens. And if you're a cybersecurity professional and you're working in a company with high profile executives, right, then they might be targeted with this kind of technology. Is that fair to say?
Again, like a lot of times, those people who get targeted, they are either working with government stuff, they are working with some high profile secrets,
or
generally not
journalists.
ordinary. Yeah, journalists. Yeah, but journalists is also it's one of the things too. But I would say that mostly it's unless the state has become very expensive. So now think about would someone a simple example is like someone client called me, he says I'm being targeted, and I said okay, if we just gave him a ballpark. I said, okay, how much do you spend for a cell phone? She said, I spent $30. I said, what if you have spent like $200 for a cell phone per month? He said, I can't afford it. I said, don't worry, no one coming after you. If you can't spend $200 per month, no one is spending $500 to hack you.
I like that. I like the way you talked about that. That's great.
So we just say, hey man, I'll give you a simple example. Like a lot of time when people get divorced, they think spouse is working on them.
Yeah.
And as per them, everyone have access to those tools. No, and these tools are really expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So a ballpark figure would be like an attack may cost $100,000, right?
Yeah.
So is it are you that important and someone needs to spend like $100,000 in just finding your location?
Yeah.
Yes, in some cases it is, but in some cases not, right? And but otherwise, like someone can send you by $200, they have to steal your money. These motivations are beyond money.
Okay.
In that case, no one is not looking into your bank account. They're looking into you.
Okay, got it. So we're coming to the end of our time together. I want to tell people that the book that I'm talking about is called This Is How They Tell Me the World Ends, the Cyber Weapons Arm Race, and it's by Nicole Perlroth, I believe is how you say her name. It's well worth your time if you're interested in zero-day exploits, how the market in zero-day exploits has evolved, and then what's the intersection of that and mobile security, which of course is our topic today. So Haseeb, thank you so much for being here. And as we wrap up the episode, I just wanted to ask, is there anything else that you wanted to share with the audience? Or maybe if somebody wanted to connect with you, how would they do that?
So I'm pretty easy to find. You can Google by name and you can find Haseeb or Secure Mobile, or you can find us. And I'm sure you will have it a link to. But I think I want to clear one thing about cybersecurity, which I was like, cybersecurity is actually growing right now because it's an industry that, now we have just some Joes working from the basement. It's not going to countries have cyber armies now.
Right.
Why would you send a bomb to someone? Why you can just destroy their communication?
Mm-hmm.
So that will become like an army. So every country will have their army. So that can be one thing. Another part is I think it's one of the easiest careers to get into, but one of the most difficult careers to get into too.
Mm-hmm.
So by difficult, if you walk into someone, hey, I have a cybersecurity degree from this university, I don't know if the thing that they've learned in the degree is relevant anymore, right?
Yeah.
And everyday attacks, it's like a zero-day, right? Zero-day is important, but we don't know what zero-day is today.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah. And the second other part is, but if you get into like bounties, you can go into like, a lot of bounty forums and you can actually start hacking stuff.
Right.
You can make good money.
Yes.
You can make like $20,000-$30,000 per day if you are actually good at it. By just hacking stuff. It's illegal. It's a career, and you can get hired by it. You can be a freelancer.
Yep.
You're trying. And people, like we have a bug bounty program. Someone come to our account, we just pay them. So we just say, hey man, this is our problem.
Yep.
Fix it, and we'll pay you.
Great. Yeah. Listen, I want to echo what you said. Jason, Dion, and I also feel the same way that if you want to get into cybersecurity, it's not really about what credentials you have or whether you have a degree or not. It's really about, can you solve the problems that need to be solved? And however you acquired that capability is okay with us, right? You still have to be ethical, right? So if you're like if you're somebody who black hat hacks all the time, and then you think, oh, I'm going to get a legit job for the day, that's probably an issue. but short of that, right? Go out there, and if you want to get into cybersecurity and get your hands dirty, go out there and, do a bug bounty program or do hack the box. I mean, there's just so much. And Jason and I have published a lot of episodes that you can go back to on your cyber path, and you can learn about different ways that you can get some hands-on experience. But I absolutely agree with you, Haseeb. That is really the way that I think people should go, is just get your hands dirty. Well, thank you, Haseeb, for being on our podcast today, for being in this episode. And listen, everybody, as with every episode that we publish, you should check for the episode notes. And I'm going to add some notes for this one as well. All you have to do is go to yourcyberpath.com / and then you put the episode number that you want to know more about, and it'll bring up a page that's dedicated just to that episode. So just use your favorite web browser. And while you're there, I think you should consider signing up for something that I send every other week. It's called Mentor Notes. And what I do is I teach you how to get into cybersecurity. And if you're already in cybersecurity, I teach you how to succeed. And my mentor notes are practical and short. They're only about 500 words, so it's very easy and quick for you to read. But this is my best thinking for you for free, how you can be successful. And it's easy to unsubscribe. So if you want to give it a try and you don't like it, no problem. Just unsubscribe. We're not going to pester you or make it hard to unsubscribe. It's actually very easy. But I just want you to know that this is a free resource that's available, yourcyberpath.com. Go check it out, sign up, see what you think. But listen, whether you do that or not, I hope you have a great week, and I hope we'll see you again next time on Your Cyber Path. See you later.
See ya. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Your Cyber Path. Don't miss an episode. Press the subscribe button now. If you would like to learn more about how to get your dream cybersecurity job, then be sure to visit yourcyberpath.com, where you can access the show notes, search the archive of our top tips and tricks, and discover some fantastic bonus content.